All right, so I'm going to turn the sidewalks off, go to point groups, properties. I'll send this to below, and I'll turn up the edge of pavement. Apply and OK. And I'm going to regen. And now I'm going to pick and see if I can find an edge of pavement. I'm not going to spend a lot of time looking for it. If I can't find it right away, then I'm just going to create one. There it is, edge of pavement. Now, when we do the edge of pavement, I'm going to create a polyline. And sometimes, if we're not careful, if we didn't pick up enough points, our edge of pavement will actually go underneath our sidewalk. But that looks pretty good. So there's an edge of pavement. And then I'm going to continue here, here. So far, so good. Okay, so like this one. This one actually went under. Because I didn't get enough shots through here, the edge of pavement actually might be looking like it's underneath. So when that happens, what we'll have to do is adjust or go back out and decide which one to use. But I'm just going to go ahead and draw it up like this. The lines are so tight when it's printed, you will not be able to tell the difference. But in the real, when we're out in the field, the guys would actually pick up more points, so they wouldn't have to straight line such short shots. Okay. Now, we didn't pick up the rest of them, but we know that the road would come out here. I can't technically draw that. I could project, and if it wasn't a true survey that the guys would need, and this is just an exhibit, then what I could do is, if I looked at this, I could create some type of an arc and mirror that over. For example, if I said, all right, I'm going to put an arc in here, a 3-point, like that, then I could trim out, and this isn't perfect by any means, I could trim out this piece and this piece. And then I could say, okay, I'm going to mirror that if I did a straight line. MI from the midpoint to perpendicular, and have it look like that. Erase the source object? No. It's the same thing with here. I can actually create and I've got 2 EOPs, so one of these might be incorrect since I've got 2, and there's a gap. Maybe one of them was an FOC, a front of curb, if I had to guess. So I could actually come over here. If you had it in your field data, you could actually come over and change that to FOC and regen. Okay, so same thing with this. I could create a 3-point arc here, and I could trim off this, because the guys, when we were out there, we picked up the point of curvature, the midpoint, and the end of curve, or the tangency. So I'm just going to assume that this is more for a sketch for the guys so they can get an idea, and then they'll go field verify this. Same thing with here. I could create a arc here and trim this up. Now, our survey guys would have to make sure that when they went out, that they were actually picking up the point of curvature to the tangency and the midpoint. Okay, so that actually looks pretty good. We don't have any more data over here. We've got our curbs and our light poles over here. Now, see how it has the EOP? Watch this. Because I changed that to FOC, this caused an interruption of that data. So it would make me have to update it. And now that point is no longer there. It's still in the thing, still in the database, but it's not in, or it's still in the drawing, but it's not in this point group. Okay, so now what I've got is my sidewalk, and I've got my edge of pavement. Now, I forgot to create a group, so groups don't have to, you have to do them all at once. You can do them as you need them, as you realize you need them. I need to create a new group called building. And the raw description is going to be BLDG. Apply and OK. Now, I'm going to send this one down. Apply and OK. And now I have a building corner here. We couldn't pick up the inside of this building corner, but we could pick up the inside of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm only going to create, and I need to put it on the proper layer. So I need to pull this down and find out if I have a building. Building. So I'm going to just create a line. Seems like everything's green right now. And I'm just going to assume I'm going to offset that. I'm going to offset that 25 feet. The reason I'm doing that is I'm just making a square outline. I'm going to square it up. Now, I'm going to hatch this, and I'm going to pick it inside this point. Now I'm going to hatch it to make it look like that. So I'm going to do a user defined, and it's easier to do it this way. I'm just going to do it at an angle. And the scale needs to be 20, and I'm going to do it at 45-degree angles. Maybe I'll do it at 50. You can always change your hatch. I'm just trying to show a representation of some type of, I don't want it solid, but I haven't decided what I like. So I'll take a look at this. I'm going to leave it as that. And then I'll take this line off to show that it extends back this way. And I'll put text on it. Now, so we've got our sidewalks, and now I want to do the striping. So I'm going to go properties, and I'm going to send the striping up. No showdown one. Apply and OK. Now this is the yellow striping, so I've got to come in here. I've got to change the layers. And I believe I called it traffic. Maybe, maybe not. But it should be underneath the traffic striping. I may do miscellaneous signs. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just going to put it underneath the signs. So I'm going to do a polyline. And there's my striping. Here is my, and I can rotate this. This is some type of signage here. And we should go back out and actually figure out what that signage is. We should have signage up here. I guess maybe the guys weren't able to pick that up. So we don't have any stop signs up here, but I know that they're there, and we don't have any striping up here. So if we ever went back out, we'd actually pick up that additional information. So now that my signs are on, I may have to split this up because I want the signs to stay, but I don't want the stripes information. So what I can do is in the stripes on these, I can actually come in here and change that style to no or none. I thought there was a none. Let me create one then. So if I had to create and update that. Oops, I didn't want to do that. If I wanted to create a none style, I could go into settings and I could go to point style. I can copy anything. It's easier to copy than start your own, so I always copy. And the information, we'll just call it none or no show. The marker, 3D, display, we'll display the marker off. It doesn't matter what marker we use, as long as we have the display off in the plan and the model, profile, any of those. We apply and OK. We can now, we can change that style to no show, and then we won't see it. Style, no show. I can actually collect these, and that's what I should have done when I did the description key. If I come over here to the settings and go to our description keys, edit those keys, I don't want to do it right now, because what would happen if I said none as part, or on the labels as none, then I wouldn't be able to actually draw it first. So this is kind of an after effect where you just want to go no show, that it doesn't show up anymore. Same with the building. But on the building, you would just put the building underneath the prospector. You just put the buildings below the no-show regen, so they don't show up anymore. All right. Now, the next thing we've got is the catch basins. Now, I'm going to I'm going to create another group, and I'm going to call it Storm. We have utilities, but I'm going to call it, no, I'm going to just leave them as utilities. So underneath utilities, properties, underneath the raw description, I should have added the catch basin. Apply and OK. Now, I need to get the utilities to the top, apply and OK. So I have these. Now, I don't want to use this style. I set the wrong style for the description of it. So see, the style says CB. I'm actually going to change that in the description key. So point, description key, edit keys. I'm going to change this to a basic. Now, what happens, I'm going to regen that, it doesn't affect what's already in here apparently. But if I ever bring anything more in, then I can change it there. So I'm just going to change these to basic. And then I'm going to end up changing them all to no show. So I'm going to start off with basic just so I can, because what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to create a polyline. I need to get on the right sign. Oh, there's where the road striping is. I put that on the wrong layer. Node. Utility, storm. That means sanitary, sewer, wastewater. This is storm, manhole, storm structure. So I'm just going to put storm structure. And I'm going to create my storm structure and close. Now when we're out here, typically when you're doing this, you should have looked inside the grate to see what size the manhole is. So I'm going to change the style to no show now. All right. You can also grip these and you should be able to rotate label and marker, because typically the gate valve is going to be going something like this. And I don't remember which way this hydrant was facing. Also, this scale might be too big, so you might end up having to change that size. Now notice that the water meter, I brought them in, but I forgot to change them in the description keys. The description keys are here, but it was after the fact, so it's not going to update those. So we actually have to fix those this way and come down here and go water meter, and I'm just going to say none. We're not going to label it because it's obvious of what they are. Now, I'm going to rotate it so it's like that. They are a bit bigger than what they're supposed to be. And we can label these as we go along once we get done, because we'll label light poles. Sometimes we don't label them. We'll just use the labeling system here to design what it is. So right now, my labels are whacked. Everything's off a little bit. So I have to fix that up. Well, you all will too. It appears my text is pushed over. All of these are off. And I don't know why. Maybe it started out that way. Let me fix this up. You're all going to have to fix it up too on your drawings. So I'm going to move this, unless maybe it was me when I was playing with the undo. Oh, it's not. Let me see if it's on a lock layer. No, so I should be able to region. Something snapped somewhere, so I'm going to have to hit undo. Why these didn't go? So I'm going to move them. I'm not even going to use my snaps because I don't know if that's messing it up. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. There we go. So I'll make sure our lines are, and our light poles look right. Now, the reason there's two of them here is because one group may have collected it at one location and the other group collected it at the other location. Instead of being dead center, they may have picked the point on a face of the light pole, and the other team picked it on the other face of the light pole, and I didn't get rid of those. So if we have dual ones that are that close to each other, then that's probably the reason. All right, looking good so far. So now I'm going to come back here. I put that on the miscellaneous topo sign. And here's something else you can do. If you figure out that you've put something on the wrong layer, you can come over here and change it. And I had it on road striping. And this one should be on road sign. That's fine. All right. Now, The next thing that I need to bring in, let me push this back, is I'm going to turn on my utilities. So once you get the basically I have my layout of the site done. Now I've got to start working on the labels. The other thing is I'm going to go ahead and isolate. I'm going to close this F3 and turn my O-snaps on. I'm going to close this polyline and I'm going to go lay ISO. LayISO. That's a shortcut command to isolate a layer. I don't know why that didn't work. I turned everything off. Oops. Notice that my catch basin's on the wrong one. Did I put this storm on the wrong one? No. Oh, that's because that was the current layer that I was on. That's why it's not off. I'm going to hatch, H for hatch, and I'm going to pick inside this area, and I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to pick concrete, and I'm going to change the scale to 1 so it densely populates that hatch. It looks more like concrete. So now I'm going to type in LAY uniso, and it brings everything back on. Okay. Next thing that I've got is go to my prospector. I'm going to update everything. Go to my point groups. I'm going to send my trees to the top. My utilities are fine. My striping and signage building. I'm going to leave my topo down. I'm going to send my traverse to the top. And I'm going to send my benchmarks to the top. Apply. Apply and OK. Now, I also should have had a manhole over here. So I'm missing something. Let me take a look at the utilities, properties, raw description. Yep, I forgot to check that. So apply and OK. And I'm going to regen. And there's my storm manhole. Now, notice, like I said, the composed, the point elevation, so I need to edit. I'm actually going to just change it. If I wanted to edit that, to make it have that as composed, and let go. I'm going to do edit text style. And come over here, edit label style, not text. Edit. Stack text, apply. I'm also going to change the height to 0.05. Apply and OK. OK. I'm also going to change P and ZDs. I'm going to create edit. I'm going to edit that. I'm going to change that to 0.05. Apply and OK. OK. Now when I do that and pull it out, it makes it a nicer. Same thing with this. I can pull this out and I can also change the style to PNEZD. Okay. Now I'll need to take a look, and I'll be changing these as I go along to see how well they look. If it looks better one style or another, then that's one thing. Now on the light poles, what I can do is, if I say I want the concrete light poles to actually say CLP, then I can change that to, I can edit the properties. Now anything that has, I'm going to organize it by style, and I can highlight all these, and I can say that I want description only. So they should have that, but let's see if when I click on them themselves, description only. So why isn't that being on? So let me check the description only when there's no description being turned on. In the layout, true, says that it's on there. something's overriding the description being turned on. Oh, I believe I know. Hold on. So if I go back to here and go description only, if I come in here and I need to edit the point style, I have to do it through here. CLP, edit. If I look at the marker or the information, and if it's displayed, see, notice the label's been turned off. Apply and OK. Now I've got all my labels back on. That's why it's not showing. Sometimes you can turn things off in certain places and other places that you can't. So I want my I want the concrete light pole to show up. Now, the other thing is I can change all those if I wanted to. I could say, you know what, guys, I screwed up. This isn't a concrete light pole. So I could actually create a new group called CLP and ML to go to metal light pole. And I can do the raw descriptions of CLP, apply, and OK. The reason I'm doing this is I want to edit the points, and I don't want to have to edit, I don't want to have to pick and click. I can globally edit and say that it is a metal light pole. Now, the other thing that I can do is the style says it, but I can also change the raw description of all of these. So I can go edit and then go MLP. And it changes them all to the metal light poles because they were mostly metal out there. Notice now I have to update all the data. Update. I don't have to, but usually you want to. And update. And then regen. Now the reason they disappeared is because on the raw description I have CLP and I need to include comma MLP. Apply and OK. And you might want to make sure that in your settings that you have in your description keys. So as we go along, we're always updating. We're always updating in our description key, because what could happen is when we add more points to this data, edit keys, we would want to have our descriptions, when we import additional data, the description key set properly. I'm going to go save. I'm going to pause now and we'll get to labeling the information.